policy and decisions must be made by each nation concerning their own affairs. He said Egypt is a special country without which there is no stability in the Arab region or in Europe. Orban said. The Egyptian president urged Hungary to take place in his country's developments and asked it to stand up for it in the European Union and called for strengthening industrial and trade relations between their countries. President al-Sisi called talks in Budapest fruitful and noted that Hungarian-Egyptian ties had been seamless for a long time. He thanked Hungarian soldiers for serving in the Sinai Peninsula for 20 years. Sisi and Orban addressed Egypt's position on the fight against terrorism, on possibilities of conflict resolution in Libya and the Syria-Iraq conflict. Before the meeting, Orban and al-Sisi signed a joint declaration, and 2 other cooperation pacts had been signed between the 2 countries beforehand. Addressing a business forum organized by the Hungarian National Trading House later in the day, Orban said Hungary was interested to see Egypt succeed. President al-Sisi told the forum that after 4 years of instability, Egypt has embarked on the path of growth. He asked Hungarian companies and investors to contribute to the process.
We're still live here on the daily debate for tonight, and we have with us, honored always to have with us, Excellency Ambassador Dr. Peter Kveck, Ambassador of Hungary. Excellency, well, a very important dimension that was there at the business forum, while we see this sense of enthusiasm of how both countries are very much enthusiastic to work further together and like to think out of the box in different dimensions. We can see also a flashback on how both countries supported each other. The president was talking about Hungarian soldiers, for instance, serving in Sinai. Tell us more about this important...
Well, we had a Hungarian contingent serving at MFO on the Sinai Peninsula for almost 20 years. They started in the mid-90s, and they completed their mission just 2-3 years ago. And I think it was for us it was I think the first step, because Hungarian soldiers and policemen never had this kind of mission in this region. And for us it was also very important to give our contribution to the Camp David peace agreement, which is a very important key matter to the stability of this region. So I think we learned here a lot what we can use in other missions as well, and we did our contribution to the stability of this region.
Definitely. Mr. Ambassador, Egypt had embarked on the path of growth, and our main battle today is a battle for development. It's a battle for making this country better. So how is Hungary supporting Egypt on that path of growth, from your opinion? How are you working on that?
Well, we are always ready to share our own experience with Egypt. Hungary went also through a quite difficult and painful period, beginning from the late 80s, early 90s, when the communism collapsed, and we regained our full sovereignty again, we regained our freedom, but at the same time we had to build a free market economy, because in the communist system we had a planned economy which was bankrupted and was not able to develop anymore. So in the early 90s we had tremendous challenges, actually in economic terms even more severe challenges than Egypt is having nowadays. What we learned, of course, we did some things in the right way, we made mistakes also, and we are ready to share this experience, just also like how we managed to overcome the financial crisis, the consequences of the financial crisis of 2008.
Right. There are lessons told. Definitely.
There are lessons. There are a lot of lessons. Lessons of the last.
The most important of which?
I would say the most important lesson of what we learned from this, from the last, not only the financial crisis, but from the last 25 years, is that the times of total economic liberalism are over. it is finished. It cannot work anymore in a way as it was before. In Hungary, we took important measures. Our government decided to put some key sectors under its control, and it worked well.
So prioritizing sectors that...
Prioritizing sectors that cannot be given to the private companies, because it leads to a disaster.
And it worked.
We saw it. It worked. It worked because now our economy is growing. It is on a healthy, sustainable growth trajectory, and it is performing very well. And but the price was that we had to make some corrections because in the early 90s. The governments at that time made a huge privatization program, which turned out to be a disaster for many aspects. But we did the correction. For example, the public utilities like water supply, electricity supply, gas supply, which is of huge importance in our region. They are now in a public hand, and they are performing very well. And Hungarian consumers have to pay cheaper prices, actually, for these services. So all in all, this is just one important aspect, but there are many more which we can share and which we can tell you about.
Definitely. Well, fruitful cooperation at the different levels, and Hungary looking at Egypt and its pivotal role regionally, currently particularly with the current UN Security Council position and also the African Union one. So how can both countries work in a sense of partnership and also seizing the opportunity of those seats?
Well, I think it is a very good news for everybody that Egypt has a seat in the Security Council, because I think a very large percentage of those issues debated in the Security Council are related either to the Middle East or to the Arab world or to Africa.
Right.
So having Egypt as a key country of this region is very important. And on the other hand, I think Egypt has very balanced, very clear views about these situations, these crisis situations, because Egypt went through difficult times also. So you know exactly how it feels to be in such a challenging situation. And if you have that experience from your own history, from your own life, it is much easier to help others solving it than for someone who knows it just from the internet or from the newspapers. From that point of view, I think it is extremely important that Egypt is there now in the Security Council.
Great news. And while we are in Ramadan and enjoying the special spirit of Ramadan in Egypt, is it the first Ramadan for Your Excellency in Egypt?
Not at all. Actually, I have been here for almost 8 years. I came to Egypt in 2008, and I had the honor to have here several Ramadans, and it is always a very special time for me also, because I can feel the spirit of Ramadan, how people are changing, how they are opening their hearts towards God, how they are trying to
bolster the bond
this very special time in a way so that their spirits and their soul can benefit from it. I think it is a very impressive experience to see Ramadan in Cairo.
Definitely. Well, Prime Minister Orbán said in Hungary, Islam is seen as one of humanity's great intellectual and spiritual creations, and Hungary believes in cultural diversity, unquoting Prime Minister Orbán. So, spreading the real image of Islam today. And we've seen Orlando, incidents, and we've seen other incidents that have no relation whatsoever with Islam as a religion. So is it through the media, in your perspective, how can we address that issue?
I think the media plays a very important role in that. The first and most important thing is to create a climate of constructive dialogue,
Right.
to broadcast, to transmit the true picture about Islam, because we know that this religion has. It's not only a religion, as our Prime Minister put it, it's a civilization also. It has a great and glorious past. The Islamic scientists in the Middle Ages were very advanced. Many Europeans went to study to Islamic universities in Spain at that time, which were under Arab rule until the 15th century. They went to the universities of Aleppo to study there and to share the common heritage what we have from ancient times. I think it is very good to look back to those times, to those periods, and to try to get new inspirations from this, to build a new partnership between the Islamic world and West, between Muslims and Christians, between the Arab world and Europe. And if we manage to succeed this, those extremists will not have any chance to perform their dirty agenda and to do...
And address also the youth, you know. The brains of the youth is very important.
Yes, that's true, because they are the future. This is one of the main reasons why we attach a huge importance to the scholarship program that I mentioned, that we discussed just recently. Of course, we are a small country, just 10 million inhabitants, half of Cairo. But we are trying to do the utmost of our capacities, and if we manage to succeed with these 300 students with the scholarships, for the next 3 years we will definitely even increase the numbers, and we will do even more efforts if we see the fruits, because indeed, as you said correctly, the key to the future is in the mind of the youth.
Definitely their brains. The field of energy, we cannot leave without discussing further cooperation in that field as well, Excellency.
Yes, the field of energy is very important for both countries. We are focusing in the cooperation between Egypt and Hungary on renewable energies, particularly on solar energy.
Right.
In that field, we have already some successful projects. Again, here we have a Hungarian company that has a unique technology which is very efficient and very useful for Egypt under the circumstances here. And we have already the first successes for some solar farms here, and I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, definitely the sky is always the limit, as we say in Egyptian-Hungarian relations, the sky is the limit. Your Excellency, a message that you would like to direct to fellow countrymen through Nile TV International from Egypt, what would you tell them today?
To fellow countrymen, if you mean the Hungarians, I just would like to tell them to come to Egypt, to visit this great country, to see how rich it is culturally and economically, and to make friendship with the Egyptian people, because as I got the feeling throughout those years that I spent here, our character, our spirit are very similar to each other.
Yeah, definitely. Working on unifying stances and exchanging views is very important. We need this sense of cooperation through also exchange of visits. Is this happening with the youth, Mr. Ambassador? Not only the youth of universities, and how about vocational training experiences?
This is a very good question. We are working on that. In that field, we still have to make further progress, but it is definitely on our agenda. As we know, the Egyptian economy needs a lot of skilled workers because if you would like to see here more investors, they will ask for qualified workforce.
Right.
We have already a well-functioning partnership in Hungary between schools and the industry. I think we could establish a similar model in Egypt also to allow the youth to have more practical skills during their studies, not only for university students but also for skilled workers. And it was also actually an area that was discussed during the business forum, because we have an Egyptian company specialized in education, which is very much interested in this kind of cooperation, skilled labor force. And we have some Hungarian counterparts that are willing to cooperate with them. So I hope we will see important steps forward in the near future in this field as well.
We need it, and we're talking also about soft power, and we talked about the media, about culture. Your Excellency talked about one of the attractions of Budapest, the Opera House. Is there a sense of exchange between both opera houses, Cairo Opera House and Budapest Opera House?
Well, we are working on that. We would like to see more exchanges between the two opera houses. But we have a Hungarian Cultural Institute in Cairo, not far from Tahrir Square, and it is very active. We are organizing there a lot of exhibitions. We are showing movies and all kind of cultural programs, and we bring sometimes some Hungarian musicians to the Cairo Opera House. Actually, we have some 3 or 4 musicians who are playing on a permanent basis in the orchestra of the Cairo Opera House. So if you go there, you will find some Hungarian musicians there as well.
That's very important, because they go with a message back home, you know. And they are ambassadors also from the country, taking a message of love and peace from Egypt to
absolutely,
the world.
Absolutely. The soft power is a very important one in our days.
And celebrities also, Hungarian celebrities. How about they're coming at Cairo International Film Festival, for instance?
Yes, sure. It's a great opportunity, and we are showing Hungarian movies in the Cairo International Film Festival, but we are showing Hungarian movies also in our Cultural Institute.
Right.
Moreover, we have every year a common film week for the so-called V4 or Visegrad 4 countries. We organize a cultural event jointly with the Polish, the Czech and the Slovak embassy. These 4 countries constitute the so-called Visegrad group. And we have a very close cooperation with each other within the European Union. And we are sharing also our culture, our cultural life with the Egyptian public. And on a yearly basis, it became a tradition already to have such movie weeks. But as you said, we are trying to play a role in showing our culture, our not only our history, but also our contemporary art to the Egyptian public, because I think it opens the hearts towards us, and we are of course also interested in seeing the Egyptian culture in our country.
Definitely, and I guess Hungarians, like all people around the world, are interested in the Egyptian, civilization, the history. Who doesn't know the Egyptian Museum and you know, the cultural artifacts, civilization dating back thousands of years. But how can we market other lovely places of Egypt? You know, it's not only the Egyptian Museum or the Red Sea, but you have Nubia, you have the North Coast, as Your Excellency have mentioned, the oasis, the desert. So more and more. You've lived here 8 years, I guess. So what was the memorable experience in those 8 years that you would never forget in Egypt?
I think it was in terms of
tourism.
Tourism, it was a great experience for me to to take the ship from Luxor to Aswan.
Right.
It was really a fantastic trip. I did it in the beginning of my stay here, and then after that to Abu Simbel also. These are really extraordinary and fantastic places. You really can breathe history.
Yeah.
It is, I think, unique in the world. It's the only thing is just to raise the awareness of foreign countries, of the foreign audience about this, because and we are trying our best also. Last year, in May 2015, shortly before the visit of President Sisi, we invited Dr. Zahi Hawass to Hungary. He delivered a fantastic lecture at the one of the most prestigious universities in Hungary, in a beautiful environment. There was a lot of media there. So all the people were talking about Egypt and the Egyptian culture and the Egyptian archaeology and so on. I think this is a very important way of presenting the country.
Yeah.
And we could do the same about, not only about history, but also the other beauties of Egypt. I remember how impressed I was when I visited the oasis Siwa,
right,
close to the Libyan border. Egypt is incredibly rich in such sites, or the oasis of Bahariya. It's amazing, the Black Desert, the White Desert, all those areas there. It is just a matter of showing it to the outside world.
Marketing,
organize road shows, invite journalists, opinion leaders from other countries, and the public will be convinced.
Oh, yes, yes, they will. From Egypt, you can breathe history. Those were the words of Dr. Peter Kveck, Ambassador of Hungary. I like the quote so much. Yes, you can breathe history in every corner of the country. Is there a memo in the field of preserving the Egyptian archaeological sites and preserving history?
Yes, sure. We have a very rich tradition in that field. It's more than 100 years that Hungarian archaeologists have been working in Egypt. Currently, we have 3 missions in Luxor, close to the King's Valley, and a couple of years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we had an exhibition in the Egyptian Museum when a part of a museum was separated just to show those artifacts that Hungarian archaeologists excavated during the last 100 years. They had to be, these works had to be collected from different museums, but I was really surprised to see what a large number of sculptures and statues and other things were found by our archaeologists. And I think this is again something which we should be proud of and continue it.
Yeah, well, we're really proud of your efforts, Dr. Peter Kveck, Ambassador of Hungary in Cairo. Thank you so much for coming, Excellency, tonight live on the Daily Debate. We talked on more than one important dimension, relations on the political, economic and investment level as well. We talked about culture, the soft power that binds both nations, and most importantly, the friendly people-to-people relations tonight. Thank you very much, Excellency, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for the kind invitation.
And I thank you, dear viewers, for joining us. That was the Daily Debate for tonight, and I'm Taghreed Hussein, thanking you all for watching.